Hey, welcome to the Energy Impacts Podcast. I am David Blackmon. I'm here today with my co-host, Stu Turley of the Sandstone Group up there you're in Abilene today.
Yeah,
I can recognize the bookcase behind you. He alternates between Abilene and Oklahoma, so I never know where he is. He's interstate man of mystery here. We are here to talk today with our friend Tom Pyle, who is CEO of the Institute for Energy Research?
CEO, president, whatever. Yeah. Titles are titles.
The big guy, the big dude, the big cheese, the C-suite man. How you doing? It's good to see you.
I'm good. I had a great Christmas with the family. We spent some quality time together, and then woke up one morning and there's no more Maduro. So
yeah, yeah. I mean,
it hasn't even been a year since the president's been sworn in.
I know it's crazy. I mean, Terry and I were going to do boxing everything over the past weekend, and I wake up at 5 o'clock Saturday morning, and so it's been drinking through a fire hose all week.
All oriented in the right direction, though. That's the important.
Exactly.
Thing,
Exactly. I wish more people understood that like you do, because it is, I think, all oriented in the right direction. But we are here to talk about not Venezuela, amazingly enough, but a fantastic new piece of work that IER put out this week called Blue States High Rates. And excuse my gravelly voice, I'm having some sinus issues. And this is a fantastic study. Everybody needs to go read it at instituteforenergyresearch.com or .org. I think both get you there. And it's a fantastic piece, which I believe should, if the Democrats are paying any attention, serve as a warning signal that they probably don't want to focus on this affordability issue all that much in the months to come. Tom, tell us what the basic foundation for this study is.
Yeah, electricity rates have been going up. And that's certainly felt in people's pocketbooks, and people are wondering what's happening here, right? From January of 2021 to last January, electricity prices raised up about 27%. And, the thing here, though, is 86% of the states with electricity costs above the national average are, you can see the map, they're blue.
Yeah,
they're reliably blue, and there are reasons for that. Policy decisions matter. We've been warning about this for well over a decade. I know that you guys have as well. When you live in a world where electricity demand is generally flat, you have the luxury of making a lot of bad decisions and it not having big impacts on people's lives. But when you live in a world where electricity demand is rising, and it's for a whole host of reasons, and they're all good reasons, then those the impacts of those policy choices affect you much more significantly. And that's exactly what we see. Yeah. The map that you see right there are states that have 100% renewable electricity mandates, right? Or net zero. Or like you can't build a new gas plant even.
Yeah.
And you shut your coal plants, right? I mean, these states that you're seeing that are dotted in blue have had policies that have deliberately done two things at the same time: subsidized and mandated renewables, which in and of themselves aren't a bad thing. I think there's a market for renewables, and I think renewables should be part of a healthy electricity mix. But when you combine mandating those and giving them generous subsidies, whether at the federal or state level, but mostly at the state level, and you have this sort of Tanya Harding approach to the other resources in your electricity mix, and by that I mean deliberately forcing utilities to shut down their coal plants or shut down their nuclear plants. And you add the third spoke to that wheel, which is I call the sort of electrification of everything.
Yeah.
Right. Where you try to force 100% electric vehicles, where you try to get rid of gas stoves, where you force commercial build not to use gas. You do all of those things, these are the results. New York, for example, pays 58% more than the national average, 62% higher than my beloved state of Florida, which is an energy intensive state, but they're below the national average. Why? Because over the last 15 years, unlike California, they made good, smart decisions about the types of electricity that they're going to need and use to power the state of Florida. And
Right.
so you're absolutely right. The Democrats do not want to go down this road, because the more they talk about it, the more people are going to understand what actually is the reason for these higher prices.
So one thing I think people need to understand too, and I want you to help explain it, is, we've got California, and Hawaii and California are the two most expensive states. They've gone whole hog into these climate alarm policies with renewable portfolio standards, all these different things, high taxes. And yet Texas is where I live. We have more solar, more wind than any other state in the country. And yet Texas ranks as among the 11 lowest electricity cost states in the country. How has Texas, despite that huge fleet of both wind and solar, how has Texas avoided, becoming one of those more expensive states?
Well, they didn't choose one over the other.
Yeah.
First of all, that's an important consideration. That we have huge gas-powered electricity. The electricity mix in Florida is, high penetration.
Yeah, in Florida too. Yeah.
But they have decided not to trade one for the other, right? And I'll just be honest about Texas. Texas electricity rates are indeed lower, and the state's done a good job there. But we had our challenges with reliability.
Oh, for sure. Big time. Because we haven't been building enough gas. Yeah.
Right. And, and some of that is a result of that surge of wind and solar. But, the part of the reason there was such a surge of wind and solar in Texas is because they have the wind, which makes sense. But also, they were also chasing a lot of federal and state incentives as well. The state of Texas subsidized a lot of the transmission that brought that energy to where the wind blows, to where the people are.
A lot.
But in terms of affordability, they did what the Southeast in particular is really good at. And you look at that map and most of the rest of the country, they didn't sacrifice certain forms of electricity generation on the altar of climate or net zero or renewables. Renewables are neither free nor cheap.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Yeah. Stu, can you put up that graphic, the moving graphic that really illustrates which states are more costly and which are cheaper in the red and blue?
There we go.
There we go. Look at this. This is since 2004. Blue states, red states, what are the most expensive? And just look at the pile of blue states on the left, the most expensive, and the pile of red states at the end, the least expensive. This is not an accident. It's just a direct result of political and public policy activity, isn't it?
And 100%. I mean, the data is absolutely clear. Alaska's an outlier. Why? Because it's rugged.
Yeah.
They're isolated. Their distribution system is scattered all over the place. A lot of little towns in Alaska burn, have diesel generation. You can't do a whole heck of a lot about that.
And their leaders are rhinos, are not necessarily Democrats. So that really needs to be a purple as opposed to a thing. Sorry, I love Alaska. I love all my trips up there, and all of the oil and everything else up there. Very close ties up there.
It's an incredible place.
Through that, but this business of blaming President Trump for the one big beautiful bill, where they eliminated, thankfully, the subsidies for wind and solar. By the way, those don't even go away yet, right? So
not yet.
it's just
it's
simply
coming,
not true. They're still harvesting those subsidies for a while. So you can't blame President Trump. You can't blame data centers. There's plenty of empirical evidence out there to show that the data centers aren't sucking up all the electricity and raising the prices. And we're living in a world where everything's going up. Why? It's a good thing. The economy's growing. We're
Big time.
insourcing manufacturing. We're doing more as a country. We're wealthier, right? More electricity is a sign of wealth and health, right? But the Democrats want to blame everybody but themselves for the policies that they've been putting in place at the state level in particular, but also at the federal level. You know, the Federal Power Act is pretty clear. The states have a lot of control over the choices that are made with respect to how the electrons flow in their states. So for these governors or these politicians to blame data centers or to blame Donald Trump or the Republicans in Congress, they're just not telling the truth.
Yeah. So one thing I think could actually, and it'll take a few years, but that I believe, and it's something the administration is about to do, I believe, that could have a significant impact as far as giving us some relief on electricity costs in America, is the rescission of the 2010 endangerment finding by the EPA on greenhouse gas regulation, which has allowed the EPA to regulate plant food in the atmosphere as if it's a pollutant for the last 15 years. And it's just created this enormous overlay of additional federal regulation. I wonder if you think that could actually have produce years down the road, a softening in power prices.
The biggest impact the endangerment finding has had, in particular with respect to electricity, and has been on electricity. Because you're right, they used the endangerment finding to justify regulations that forced the closure of coal plants. In 2005, I think 60% of our electricity generation in this country was from coal. We're down to like 19, I think.
19, yeah.
But if you combine natural gas and coal, the percentage is the same from 2005. We just replaced a lot of that coal with natural gas.
Right.
But that's not good enough. The Biden administration wanted to use the endangerment finding to prevent new gas plants from being built. And also, if they were to be built, they would have to put, carbon capture technology on them, which if you're a utility, you're like, I'm not doing that. It's not economical and I'm not doing it.
Or mandate hydrogen options, which will never be used.
Yes. The President Trump, they say, he's the reason for higher electricity prices. His DOE is keeping coal plants open. There are, 38 coal plants that are slated to be retired before the end of President Trump's term. And as they've been sort of falling, scheduled for termination, they've issued emergency orders to keep them open.
One of them last week was Colorado's, and Colorado had 19% of their electricity. I believe 27% of their electricity was from that one coal plant. This is just not smart.
No. And that one in particular is near and dear to my heart, because earlier in my career, we had developed a whole campaign to save that plant, the credit station. It's a beautiful town, lovely people. Those kind of decisions made in, Denver or Washington or Sacramento, they don't realize the impacts they have on these communities as well.
So, Tom, you cannot take away 27% of a state's grid in a signature move to try to be mightier than thou, or have a holier than thou attitude, and realize you're not going to keep the lights on with wind and solar. It is not going to happen.
No, it's absolutely not going to happen. And they say, it's cheap, and the president is cutting off these options. It may be cheap to install, but it's not cheap to manage.
No, it's not.
You have to build transmission from where these resources are to where people live. That's a huge cost. You have to manage the grid in such a way that you have to sort of accommodate for that intermittency. When the wind blows, great, but when it doesn't and it shuts off, then what do you do? And then there's these crazy policies like net metering, which forced the utilities to buy power back from consumers. And all of that it adds cost to the management of the grid and impacts reliability. And then combine that with the fact that you have to back it all up.
Right, exactly.
It's like
you're
we're
building two
creating
different grids.
Two complete different grids when we had one that worked pretty darn well before they started doing all this stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we never had blackout issues in Texas before we implemented the renewable portfolio standard in 2001. We got our electricity from coal and natural gas, mainly a little bit of nuclear, very little wind, and just a little here and there, a smidgen. We didn't have blackout issues because we had plenty of power generation, plenty of base load generation, plenty of reserve capacity. And when when the big winter storms hit, we were able to kick in more additional generation capacity onto the grid and keep the lights on and the heaters running. Now every time we have a winter storm, people have to, fire up the gas generators, make sure everything's functioning before they get here, fill up the tanks with gasoline if they're gasoline powered or diesel powered. And it's just crazy the way we've allowed things to deteriorate in the state when it was completely unnecessary and just, frankly, a money grab based on a model for a power grid, by the way, that was created and sold to the state of Texas by who? Ken Lay and Enron, same as California. Okay. So, I mean, I know Texas Republican politicians don't like to talk about that, but that's the damn truth.
Yeah.
And I'm just tired. I'm not going to mince words about that crap anymore.
I like it. Amen to that. Like, can I just focus on California for a couple minutes?
Absolutely. Please do.
I was about to do that for you, Tom. Let me bring this up. This is the American Energy Alliance, and I absolutely love this. I was sitting there doing a little research before the podcast. This is on the AEA, the American Energy Alliance. I think you know these guys, don't you?
Yeah, that's my advocacy organization.
Yeah. He's the president of that too, folks.
So anyway, let's get on to California, because California is a national security risk, and Governor Newsom and his beloved hair gel, if he ever fell into the bay, he would actually cause a oil spill that would be greater than the Exxon Valdez. Here's the problem with California. His war on oil and gas has been too good. You have caused 20% of the refineries to close. The main pipeline is now closing. Sable Offshore has now gotten permits to come back online, but it's too little, too late. There's a new law in California that says that Gavin Newsom is going to roll out 2,000 permits for Kern County. That's not enough oil because physics matter to an oil pipeline, and they are losing $2 million a month in that pipeline. That is now affecting Washington and Oregon. The entire West Coast is now facing $8 and $10 gasoline and diesel. And I tracked one in from last year that was Russian oil refined in India, and it was jet fuel brought in because of a refinery fire. Refinery fires happen. This is an issue. Now, I loved your article. I want to hear. Thank you for letting me rant, by the way, David. I appreciate that.
Well, we have to have our diatribes on these things.
Oh yeah, that's sorry. I had to get a moment there to clip, for a viral moment. But on your viral moment, the Newsom's Democrat proposed new tax on Californians. This is horrific.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They had all these policies in place. They demonized the oil and gas industry. They, every angle, every turn, they blame them for this and that. And then Chevron's like, yeah, I think I'm going to move to Texas. They're like, wait, what? What? Why? Where are you going?
After 120 years in California.
Yeah. I mean, towns are named after Chevron refineries in Texas. And then Valero, we can't keep these refineries open. Wait, no, stay. We'll pay you. No, I promise we'll pay you. Like, that's literally the panic level going on. And you talk about like, oh, we're this green state, we're this model for all this stuff. They import more than 50% of their oil, mostly from the Middle East.
Yeah.
70.
Right?
70.
70, thank you. They import electricity from Nevada and Arizona. Right. So on paper, they papered out this utopia where they have fewer emissions, but they're not counting all the emissions from that.
Yeah, they're just moving them around. Yeah.
That plane trip that you mentioned with all the oil being processed and moved all around. What's the carbon footprint on that?
Oh yeah, and
Right?
by the way, they're not only that, but they import natural gas, and they are burning more coal now than they were when they had coal plants. Why? Because people forget coal is still used for industry and cement.
Yep, 100%. 2 times the national average, their electricity rates.
Yeah.
This is a result of policy. This is a result of crazy mandates and cost-shifting policies that these guys have been implementing over the last 10, 15 years. And, there's the good news is, I'll give you an example. In New York, Governor Hochul, she has no choice now, right? She's starting to talk about the urgency of new nuclear. She's approving gas pipelines to bring gas into the state. Again, like Stu said, too little, too late. New Yorkers are hurting. They're suffering because of these policies. And then just to shift gears a little back to oil, you got this political boundary line between Pennsylvania and New York. The gas is under both states. The people who live in Pennsylvania, who live in the Marcellus, they have generational wealth gains.
Oh, I know. Yeah, millionaires everywhere.
The people who live in New York, right on the other side of that political boundary, their median income is still half the size of those people in the counties in Pennsylvania. So destructive energy policies hurt people.
And our biggest city has got a American Socialist Communist divided by the square root of 3, whatever he's calling himself today. This is absolutely going to be horrific, and I can't believe that we have actually got a Democratic Socialist Republican Democrat in as a mayor of New York, whatever the hell his name is. I mean, I don't get it.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I'm wondering if they're going to airlift him and send him to the Southern District of New York. So,
well, that'd be a good thing.
Sorry, bad joke.
Yeah. No, so, but back to New York too. It's not just New York that suffered from that political divide, right? It's New England, because New York has basically been this damn barricade against getting a 125-mile pipeline built from the Marcellus into Massachusetts, so you can link into the natural gas supply in New England and stop importing natural gas from Russia and other places.
Yeah, and it would be nice if the people in New England would advocate for that.
Yeah, but they don't. That's because
they're in that blue squadron, right? They tried to get a transmission line from the hydro up in Canada down into Massachusetts. They tried 3 different times, 3 different states. Maine, Vermont, and New Hampshire all rejected the transmission line. Why?
Yeah,
they weren't going to benefit from it. So that's why. And how many more billions of dollars does that add to the cost of electricity than running a pipeline from Pennsylvania through the state of New York into the north, into the that region?
I put out an article, and Secretary Secretary Burgum had made the comment, we could solve all of the energy problems of all the offshore wind with one pipeline. And I put out a quote, oil saved the whales the first time, and a pipeline could save them the second time.
Yeah.
100%.
But it's as if voters in these states they've lost the ability to connect cause and effect when it comes to their energy costs. They've just lost the ability to realize that they're paying so much for their energy because of the people they keep voting for and putting into power, right? I mean, it's just bizarre. It's a bizarre feature of our modern society.
Yeah, well, I see a comment from Robert. He's right. New England imports LNG.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah, tankers from Russia and Algeria flowing into Boston Harbor every winter.
Right? Like what world was this? What world does that make sense?
I want to bring up this one right here when I believe he had a comment on Hawaii. I'm trying to find it again. Here we go. Robert also says Hawaii has to and does import coal and oil for electric.
Yeah.
Robert, they shut down their last coal plant and they've been burning. Are you ready? Oil.
Fuel
oil.
Yeah.
Just like
which New England still does too.
It is worse. In fact, we could not. This is kind of a fun little thing. We could not even sell our own LNG to Hawaii because of the Jones Act.
Yeah,
I just wrote an article yesterday. We could, in fact, seize Dark Fleet LNG tankers and then reflag them as U.S. Go around the Jones Act. It is legal and there is precedence for this. So I'm all in. Let's board some of these Russian tankers, hijack them, and then let's get LNG to Alaska and Hawaii and really save the environment.
Also, Puerto Rico would benefit from a Jones Act waiver on this stuff.
It sure would.
You know, if they can't repeal the Jones Act, at least repeal it for LNG.
Just make a carve out, right?
Just acquire some tankers illegally. I mean, not illegally. Just put the Coast Guard on it. Get Mark Rubio, Secretary Rubio, get him in the front of that because he's now the coach. I love all the Secretary Rubio memes going around.
Yeah,
he's now the coach of the Dolphins. He's now the czar for Russia. We might as well put him on a Coast Guard tanker and be the captain of one of these LNG tankers.
That's classic.
That's the best memes of the last month, the Marco Rubio memes. So, I guess, now the study's out there. You got this fantastic piece and all the great data in it. Are you optimistic the Republican candidates will use any of it and smartly get the truth out to the voters in their districts
I hope
leading
so.
up to the midterms?
I hope so. We have been very aggressive in pushing this report out to obviously the administration, Capitol Hill.
Yeah.
We sent it to all the Republican legislatures in all 50 states.
Good.
And we've gotten great feedback so far from folks, and people have come back and said, thanks, this is the information that I've needed or looked for. And it's all been there. It's just when you cull it out, it's all EIA data.
Sure, but you have to have someone like your group collate it and get it out there in a form that's easily digestible for people who aren't, familiar with industry jargon. And that's a hard thing that you guys do.
Yeah, well, thank you for that. And, and it's not like we're happy about it. we don't want anyone in any state to suffer.
Yeah.
But, the takeaway here is focus policy on affordability and reliability. We are doing more with less all the time. That is what entrepreneurial capitalism, free markets do.
Yeah.
We do more with less. We are cleaner, better. We do it cleaner, better, faster than anybody else in the world because we have wealth. We unfortunately they were able to get away with these policies for so long because we were a little bit stagnant here in the United States.
Oh, for sure.
But you don't see that right now, right? You see the numbers on projections on GDP. You see the corrections on GDP. You see all the stuff that's going on, the OBBB, the tax, affordable tax deal, that will kick in to people this year.
Right.
I do think that, we're gonna see the economy improve. I think we're gonna see some movement here, and people are going to start feeling it in their pocketbooks. But the president is right. President Trump is absolutely right. The main driver of all costs for any economy is energy.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And if you get it right, if you get gas prices down, you get electricity prices down, you make good choices. These companies are amazing. They'll do a lot. They'll produce the power we need. They'll build the data centers, and our emissions will continue to go down. It's just so silly, the left's idea that like the only way to stop us from destroying the planet is to just live like we lived in the Stone Age.
Right.
That's literally what they want.
I had a comment on LinkedIn. I made a post yesterday about Trump pulling us out of the IPCC and all those other ridiculous hoax groups internationally. And one of the guys responded to me, says, oh shoot, now I'm forgetting where I was going with that. I'm just having a brain fart.
Well, while you're thinking about
it,
I do want to talk about that, because that was a good decision that the administration made.
It totally was, yeah.
Because now the next president can't just say, "Oh, we're going back into Paris," right? There's going to have to be a little bit more of a process for that, and it's a larger point about the UN too. What interest is the UN serving the United States, really?
Well, none.
Exactly.
And I hope what they're doing is trying to just pull us out of that organization entirely, piece by piece, program by program.
In fact, I did write about that this morning and had some fun with it. And I put in here's the executive order, the key things about the executive order. And in the bottom of the article, Clark Savage put in here that we'll be talking about this with Tom on a different Tom on the Energy Realities podcast on Monday.
Tom Nelson, yeah.
And so you sit back and take a look. I vote right now, all those in favor, let's get the UN out of the US, send them to Switzerland, and cut their budgets, because the amount of money that these hit are in the billions of dollars that we were wasting. It is unbelievable how much money we were wasting by the UN climate change accord and all of those things. It's unbelievable.
Well, and then more importantly, Secretary Bessent pulled us out of the Green Climate Fund.
Yes.
Immediately thereafter, which basically was a slush fund, right? I mean,
one of a million, yeah.
Exactly. So yeah, I'm really, you can say he's breaking eggs and challenging the Constitution and the separation of powers. And what I can say is that I think that the President of the United States has a clear vision of where the United States needs to be, both economically and from a security perspective. And undermining all of that is energy. It always has been, and it always will be. And I'm hopeful that we, maybe take a break here and there, give me a week off, but I'm hoping that this trajectory continues. And I hope the economy improves to the point where people feel better about their position. Because at the end of the day, when we talk about all this stuff, I always remind my staff, we have to talk. This is about people and what's in the best interest
and human flourishing. Yeah.
And human flourishing. And that's why we're so aggressive on the car stuff over all these years. Like, don't take away people's freedom to choose the types of cars and trucks that best suit their needs. And also those policies added to the cost of cars too.
Exactly.
Right? The average cost of a new car is over $50,000.
It's gone up 45% since 2021.
Who can afford that?
Nobody. I mean, you priced out 90% of American consumers from the new car market.
And you priced out kids coming, with their first car as their first sign of taste of freedom. You priced out the housekeeper who has to take public transportation when she gets her first car. Now she can load her stuff in the car and do more jobs. And then she can turn that individual housekeeping deal into a business. Right. And then she can put her kids through college. So we always talk.
But that's all intentional too. You should make the point. That's all intentional. That's the main goal, right, of the climate change movement, to make transportation, to make energy more expensive for everyone, right? So that people have to use less and less and less of it.
I think Gavin Newsom told all of us to hold his beer. When Tim Walz was coming up with the daycare center scheme and the fraud and waste and abuse in his state, Gavin Newsom said, "Hold my beer. Let me show you how to do a bullet train for and I'm gonna get billions of dollars from the federal government, and I'm not even gonna build a bullet train." So these guys are fighting for hold my beer. I'm gonna be more corrupt than you.
Yeah, that train. We can spend a whole episode on that.
Oh boy, no kidding. Hey guys, I actually remembered what my brain fart was about.
All right,
so this guy comes back to me and he says, if you're serious about the environment, you need to be in favor of massive reduction of human population. And I said, oh, I just love it when you Club of Rome Malthusians just say it all out loud, right?
Yep,
I mean, come on, we got to kill 8 billion people to save the earth. I mean, that's basically what that crap is.
Who should go first?
Yeah, who gets to go first? Exactly.
Who gets to go first? Who gets to stand in line? I'm guessing he doesn't want to be on the short list.
Probably won't volunteer to be first in line.
20 of the 25 cheapest electricity rates in the country are red.
Yep.
Only 4 blue and 1 purple even come close to making the list. There's a direct correlation, guys.
It's undeniable.
The policies of the state and what they force their utilities to do and not do, and the price of electricity.
And New York is, you've got articulated in the article wonderfully. New York is made up of, are you ready? Nuclear, natural gas as most of their energy, and they're still more expensive. New Jersey is the same way. I'm like, what? My head exploded when I looked at New Jersey. I mean, this is nuts.
It is.
They're pushing all the offshore. The two governors, the new governors of New Jersey and Virginia said, "Oh, we're on an affordability." We want to make electricity rates affordable. So what's the first thing the Virginia Governor Spanberger wants to do? Get Pennsylvania back in Reggie.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Tom, if you don't mind, I'd love to visit. I don't know who this LinkedIn user is, but do you think net zero is dead? I don't think so. Carbon control, valuation, profiteering is alive and well. I couldn't agree more. In fact, I'm going to go, and David's tired of me saying this, but I believe that the world is bifurcating in 2 different groups. Those that are going to be following net zero deindustrialization, and those new trading blocks are going to be based off of energy policies. Those following non-net zero will be fiscally sound and trading with each other. And that new trading block is going to be India, Russia, the United States, Saudi Arabia, Venezuela.
Venezuela now, yeah.
Yeah. And so when you sit back and take a look, that is a very, very good question, but it's also loaded to the new trading blocks that I've been talking about for a very long time. And Germany was really the poster child of wind and solar. They failed. They've got deindustrialization going on, net zero. Then you have the UK, Herr Starmer. It was great seeing the memes from the UK saying, President Trump, will you please come get our leader next? I'm sorry. I thought those were fantastic.
I think
is net zero dead?
I think net zero will never be dead. Because net zero was a foil for this philosophy, for this movement, for this sort of socialism, the Malthusianism, the redistribution of wealth. That is what net zero is. Just a narrative, right? And those folks are never going to go away. Right. They'll try to repackage it. It could be something else. But those fundamentals of it's just a worldview, right? It's a worldview of economics and rule of law and prosperity versus control. Command and control, and like you said, deindustrialization and populationism. That's what we're doing here. That's sort of what undergirds all of this is, well, how do people view the world and how they think it should be run?
Right. Well, and then they'll never stop until they're forced to stop. They're no different than the Marxists of the 1914 Russian Revolution, or 1917, excuse me. I mean, it's the same Marxism repackaged, with a green facade. That's all it's been. And it's, like you say, they'll just think of they're regrouping now, and they'll come out with another narrative that their friends in the media will promote.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to tease something out.
Go ahead. Yes, please. That's what I was just about to go to. Yeah.
Thank you. So blue states, high rates. This was an appetizer, guys. We're gonna. So what we did was we did the national map and we did the averages, so everyone can kind of get a baseline and see where they were. But we only focused on a handful of states and sort of dove deeper into those states. Our goal this year is to work with our friends at AOER to build an energy affordability index.
Nice.
And we're gonna do this on an annual basis and just update the numbers every year so that everyone can see where they're going. Like you saw that that wonderful video of the changes, so that will continue. And people will have the information on an updated basis every year and know where their state ranks on energy affordability. And it probably might include gas prices too, because I think gas prices and electricity prices are the sort of 1-2 punch in people's pocketbooks.
Big time. Yeah, and gas prices are going down too. Man, I paid $2.19 the other day. It's fantastic.
I would add diesel to that for the standpoint that we use diesel brings in all your ag, all your food, all your other stuff in there, and that is a direct proportionment to the food costs.
Yeah,
great idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah.
We'll let's cycle back here soon. I let too much time go by from the last time we talked, and I promise to be better about that going forward.
Oh, my pleasure. It's great to spend time with you guys as always.
Before we close out, let me address this one. We see heavy industries around the globe spooling up for hydrogen. Why is that? There's a couple different things. I'm working with a coal group that is actually looking at using coal for liquefaction to gasoline and diesel, and they use hydrogen as a event to get to net zero on it, so that you can get by and get funding. So the bottom line to this answer is it's about the crazy funding. So
yeah, like so much of the rest that we've seen, but hydrogen is never going to be a global solution to anything.
There's only white hydrogen, which is a natural occurring hydrogen. There's 3 companies in the world that are actually trying to mine legitimate natural hydrogen. I didn't even know it existed until 6 months ago, but it is like the unicorn that's out there. It's expensive to get to. So,
well, and who's going to provide the trillions of dollars to build the infrastructure?
Dang. It's a tougher infrastructure to build than natural gas because it is a smaller molecule. It escapes. It is not the same.
Not the same.
Yeah, in these moments, I like to remind folks that 30 years ago, the world used of the big pie of energy, the world used 80% of it was coal, oil, and natural gas.
Today, what is it today, Tom?
80%.
And how many trillions have we spent on wind and solar?
Yep, the ratios changed, but the pie.
Texas has spent $150 billion on wind and solar. Do you know what we could have had for $150 billion? We could have been nuclear, to quote a past president, nuclear.
Yeah, I'm a fan of nuclear. I think we need to revive that in this industry. A lot of challenges there. It's easy to say nuclear. It's hard to do nuclear.
It really
unless you're a president with the name Bush, then you can't say nuclear.
Yeah, you can't say it, right?
Sorry.
That's funny.
You keep trying to close us out, David, and I keep trying to make
Well, I'm going to close it out now, by God, because I got on 11 o'clock. Anyway, I'm sorry, guys. Tom, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure. You're doing great work, doing God's work. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate you, man.
Oh, thank you so much. Same here. Happy New Year, guys.
Happy New Year. And let's all take a week off while nothing's going on, while we're having all these slow news days.
Good luck with that.
All right, everybody.